Welcome to The Writer Reads The Strays of Lunar One, Book 1, The Unwilling, Chapter 30, Jumping Ship. Florrie contacted them once the ship hit clear space. I guess it's your lucky day, she told them. The Aotearoa is on contract to Alpha 9. Oliver stopped at the top of his next sit-up, pivoted on the bunk and leant against the wall. You telling me you didn't know that before you tried to hook us on? I had an inkling, but I'd only gotten as far as picking the most likely flight path for ships en route when Zanel jumped in. Zanel? Alarm pitched Lewis's voice a little higher, even in the implant. I thought you said it was only the hunters and the local Ravelin agency. Zanel hit the warp point as I picked up the freighter, Florrie explained. It gave me less time than I needed to fully activate the shuttle's limpet system. Hence the EMP, Oliver observed. I had to take the risk what I had online was enough. The Zanel scans are aggressive. Even attached and cloaked, you only had a small chance they wouldn't find you. She paused. They may have a way of detecting Lewis's implant, but I can't be sure. Either way, there was only a small window between them arriving and scanning, so I took the risk. So the freighter's defense mechanisms were a blessing, Oliver suggested wryly. In disguise? Yes, Florrie agreed, and getting you off the ship is going to be much easier than trying to hitch a ride on it. Uh-huh. Oliver scowled at Lewis's interruption, but Florrie wasn't deterred. I've unlocked the Aotearoa's systems, she informed them. Once she docks, I should be able to unlock your door and guide you into the station. Do you know where we need to go once we leave the ship? Oliver asked. I've located a fixer aboard the Alpha 9 orbital, Florrie told him. I'll guide you there. A fixer? Lewis said. Like me, but their services are limited to what they can source on world and on the orbital. From the limited digging I've been able to do between now, hacking the Aotearoa, and re-establishing our connection, he's your best bet of the few hidden service providers on the orbital, and you'll need one of them to reach the planet undetected. No shuttles. Few shuttles, and all private, Florrie told him. The beanstalk is out of the question. You will need help. Let's hope this plan works out better than the last two, Lewis muttered, and Oliver rolled his eyes. Florrie, I apologize. He has no idea the trouble you've gone to on our behalf. And you do? I have an inkling, Oliver assured her, and I appreciate all you've done so far. If I didn't know you were speaking the truth, Mr. Landstrom, I'd be tempted to leave your furry backsides right where they are. Odyssey isn't that bad an option. We would rather you didn't, Oliver told her, unless you think it would be better for the cub. No, Florrie replied. Not only have I taken the contract to get you to Alpha 9's surface, if I can, but I think the time working as a mercenary might benefit him. Oliver breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. I really appreciate your forbearance. I know how difficult changelings can be, Mr. Landstrom. The way Florrie said it, the topic was closed. I will contact you once I have the rest of the plan in place, but I thought you needed to know I was back online and working on it. Again, thank you. Oliver waited until Florrie had left his head, then turned to Lewis. I thought I told you to train, he growled, and I am ordering you not to speak when I'm dealing with our contacts. Lewis gave him a look that said he was thinking of defying that order, but Oliver curled his lip and rumbled out a growl, letting his forearms shift to their hybrid form and sprout claws. It was a warning of what was to come if Lewis continued to defy him, and the man glanced from his face to his forearms and subsided. Gotcha, bro, he sneered. Oliver let his body shift back to being fully human and returned to his sit-ups while Lewis resumed doing push-ups on the floor. When Oliver hit his repetitions, he motioned Lewis up onto his bunk to do sit-ups. I don't see the point, the younger man protested, and Oliver smirked. You will, he replied, and grunted as he continued the repetitions. Aren't you afraid we'll wear ourselves out? No, Oliver answered before Lewis could elaborate. I'm worried we'll lose condition and not be in any shape to handle whatever Odyssey or our next employer throws at us. He hoped the answer was warning enough for Lewis to get the hint that their quarters might be monitored. Whether it was or not didn't matter. It was just a chance he didn't want to take. The routine he'd set was interrupted by a knock at the door, and they backed up to the end of the compartment, turning and setting their hands on the wall as their meal was delivered. Oliver didn't need to look over his shoulder to know the first two people through the door were armed and ready to put them out if they were a threat. The efficient way they moved was enough to tell him that. Just who was this freighter captain, anyway? Anyone would think she did more than just carry cargo. He made a mental note to look up the Aotearoa and her captain as soon as he had some time and access. The ship felt more like a military operation than a freighter, but Florey seemed to think it was legit. Oliver frowned, thinking hard as their meals were set down on the end of their bunks and the crew withdrew. As the door closed, he waited until the all clear came through the comms. "Thank you, you're good to go," came in the same hard voice that had told him to put his hands on his head when they'd brought the shuttle on board. Letting his breath out in a long sigh, he tapped Lewis on the shoulder and turned, eyeing the plates of food with some suspicion. When his friend went to pick his up, he laid a hand on his shoulder and put a finger to his lips. "Florey?" he asked, inside the privacy of his implant, knowing Lewis could hear them over the link. "I'm here." "How far off the station are we?" "You're an hour out. Why?" "They've just delivered us a meal." "Oh, give me a minute." Florey went momentarily offline, and Oliver signalled for Lewis to take a seat on the opposite end of the bed to his meal. "You think it's drugged?" the man asked, and Oliver dipped his head. "I think there's a good chance they're taking precautions against us causing trouble." "Good call," Florey interrupted. "There's enough soporific in there to put you under for 2 days." "They what?" Lewis was horrified. "Gabe hasn't come out of stasis yet. He was hurt in that firefight, which explains his carelessness in handling you. He needed more than food, and the first aid kit was above the kitchen." Oliver frowned. "But he will be okay, won't he?" "He'll live. You probably saved his life when you stuck him in the tank. That and the fact you didn't kill him will earn you some leeway with Odyssey." Oliver frowned in puzzlement. "Why would I kill him?" "He did tell you he wasn't letting you go, didn't he?" Florey pressed. "Well, yes." She continued. "And that you were going to stand trial and be found guilty." Oliver fielded Lewis's worried glance and shrugged. "I don't see what that has to do with anything. Man was just doing his job." "For some people, that's enough to warrant a death sentence." "Yeah, well, I'm not them," Oliver told her, adding, "I trust you're keeping a recording of this." "Sweet cheeks," Florey replied. "I keep a recording of everything." "So how long has it been since you left Odyssey?" Oliver ventured, and there was silence. Florey wasn't happy when she replied. "That is far too personal, Mr. Landstrom, and it's the last time I'll let it slide. In the meantime, you and Mr. Havisham need to pretend to eat, and drop your meals on the floor when I say so." Oliver and Lewis picked up their meals and positioned themselves as Florey directed, making the appropriate motions with their hands until she stopped them. "Okay, slow down as though you're feeling dizzy and have just noticed something's not right," she instructed. She gave them a few seconds to comply, then added, "Oliver, give Lewis a look that says you've just realized you're shit out of luck and sway back, letting your plate slide to the floor." As Oliver started to do as she instructed, she spoke again. "Lewis, cast a glance at Oliver and let your plate go as you fall against the wall and slump." Oliver heard the thump and clatter as Lewis complied, and then Florey continued. "Now, I need you both to hold those positions for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're done. Stay there until I tell you the corridor is clear." "Have we docked already?" Lewis asked, completely forgetting Oliver's order about not speaking to the transporter. "We're in the process of docking, but seeing as they're going to come and get you and stuff you into tanks as soon as that procedure is over, we need you to leave a little early." "Guards?" Oliver asked. "Not yet. They bought your little pantomime, and now they're watching you snore." The door lock cycled. "Time to go, boys." "Boys," Oliver thought as he beat Lewis to the door, laying his forearm across the changeling's front as the door slid open. "Go right," Florey instructed, "and move it. Double time." Oliver broke into a jog, and Lewis closed up beside him. They moved as one when Florey next spoke. "Left, elevator right, down 2 levels. I can keep them out." Oliver glanced around the elevator, aware of Lewis standing tense beside him. "If I didn't know it was you," he said. "You'd be in a lot of trouble," Florey finished primly. "Ready? break right. You'll have 2 on the airlock and 2 at the other end. I don't think they'll shoot into the umbilical." "You don't think?" Lewis was alarmed. Oliver didn't hesitate. "Wolf time," he ordered, rolling through the elevator door before it was fully opened. He covered the distance between the elevator and the airlock in a rush, relieved to see the 2 technicians monitoring the connection to the station were unarmed. "Captain, we've got," was as far as Oliver let the crewman get. "Damn," Florrie swore. "Don't bother putting them down. Just get through." He didn't question her, and didn't bother correcting her either. The second technician went down to Lewis's fist before she'd finished speaking. Oliver grabbed him on the way into the airlock, not bothering to wonder why it was cycling before the inner door had properly closed. "Florrie, I hope that's you." "Only just, sweet cheeks. Now run." They ran, neither of them stopping as the lighting in the umbilical changed to a warning amber. "Move," Florrie urged, and Oliver wondered what she thought they were doing. The umbilical shook under their feet, and the airlock cycled open at the other end. It was the longest 10 meters he'd run in his life, and they still had 2 armed guards on the other end. One of them looked into the umbilical as they made the airlock. "Don't you dare!" Oliver roared, throwing himself across the intervening space and bringing him down in a chest-high tackle. "Lewis, get the other one." The other one had taken one look at the 2 hybrids coming through the umbilical and started to run. He almost reached the emergency button when Lewis slammed into him. By then, Oliver had swept the blaster from his colleague's hand and knocked the man out with a single punch to the head. Lewis's opponent tried to kick his way free, but froze as the changeling's growl rumbled over him. Lewis punched him, twice, stopping when Oliver arrived. "Almost," the Alpha told him, and demonstrated. "Like this." He didn't waste time on a long-winded explanation, but pulled Lewis to his feet and headed for the exit. "Which way, Florrie?" "Maintenance corridor to your left and on the right. Camera will be clear in 3, 2, now." They went in, the maintenance hatch opening just before they reached it, and they turned into it. "Don't stop," Florrie instructed. "I'll close it." "How long?" Oliver began, but she understood. "You have a 5-minute start, and maybe 2 minutes before the station registers what happened at the umbilical and responds." "That fast?" "It is a wolf world," Florrie reminded him. "You do understand what that means, right?" "I have a vague idea," Oliver admitted. "It's not too late to turn yourself in to Odyssey," she told him. "Think carefully about what you're doing." "What would you advise?" "I would have to do more research," she told him, "but it's not an easy decision to make." At least he knew she would give him the choice, but Oliver knew that choice wasn't just his to make. "Lewis, don't I have to obey the Alpha?" "Not in this you don't," Oliver told him. "In this, the Alpha gives you the power to choose." "That's not." "No," Oliver agreed, "but I've already taken too much." They stopped running, and he turned to face his friend. Before he could say anything, however, the sound of an explosion in the direction of the maintenance hatch interrupted them. "Run!" Florrie shouted, and Lewis slapped Oliver on the shoulder. "You haven't led me astray yet," he said, "and I'm glad you didn't let me die." "No matter the cost?" Oliver asked. "No matter the cost," Lewis assured him. "You were right. She didn't have the right to choose for me. And I'd rather be around than not." "As touching as this is," Florrie interrupted, "you need to take the next left and hang a sharp right straight after." Lewis and Oliver followed her instructions, surprised when a bulkhead slammed down on their heels after the second turn. "Structural bulkhead," Florrie explained. "That will buy you a little time as long as they don't get to the next exit before you do." "What do you mean?" "I mean there is only one exit from this corridor, and you need to get to it and get through it before the station guards do. Without the protection of a pack, they will auction you to the highest bidder." "But we're wolves," Lewis protested. "You are werewolves," Florrie told him, "not lupari." "I had one contact me on Buford's," Lewis said. "I can't recall his—" "Give me a minute," Florrie interrupted. "Let me get you to safety, and then I'll access the memory and see what I can find of this wolf." "Gotcha." Both wolves were breathing hard as they turned another corner and caught sight of the exit. "Which way?" Oliver asked. "Left and into the alley," Florrie informed them. "I have the feeds for the moment." Oliver nodded, not slowing as the exit opened in front of them. Knowing she'd spoken to both of them, he pivoted left and then bolted across the concourse into the service corridor alongside a blaster repair shop. "Take the side door," Florrie instructed. "I'll access the memory and let you know about the wolf, but this is where I'll have to leave you." "We're out of credits?" Oliver asked, and she laughed. Not quite, but I'd rather not leave you destitute, and Alpha 9 proper is beyond my reach. If you get picked up here, I cannot save you. Understood, Oliver told her. And thank you. He laid his hand on the side entry into the back of the repair shop and led the way inside. Seconds later, he heard the unmistakable sound of a blaster powering up and skidded to a halt, raising his hands as he did so. Florrie sent us, he said, and hoped to hell the transporter had managed to touch base with the man in front of them.